Good evening. My name is Myra Townsend, and I'd like to talk to you today about Christians and environmentalism. And this is important because I'm a Christian, and I have not always been concerned with environmentalism, and I've not been concerned always about sustainability of the earth. The environmentalism is concern about and action aimed at protecting the environment. The environment itself is the surroundings or conditions in which a person, animal, or plant lives or operates. But it also is the natural world as a whole or in a particular geographical area, especially as affected by human activity. That human activity is what I'd like to talk about. Because of human activity, um, we are encountering things such as global warming. We are encountering increased pollution. So that's important. And why should we care? Um, for so long, Christians have separated their Christian values from any type of environmental value. And often it was because environmentalists were considered to be liberal people, those liberal Democrats. Nothing wrong with the Democrat. Um, but they were said to be the liberals who did not necessarily espouse the same values as deeply religious Christians. Well, it's time to get beyond that. As a people, we have to take the politics out of environmentalism and allow our relationship with Christ to govern our attitudes and our actions concerning the earth. Or as one former pastor, Mitch Hex Cox, calls it, we have to take up creation care. That's important, again, because God told man in the Garden of Eden to take care of the earth. He set him and gave him dominion over the earth, but it is not a negative dominion in that we can just waste and use all the earth's resources without any concern or care for those who come after us. This began, this topic began over about 50 years ago with research done by Lynn White, and he found that membership in a fundamentalist Christian tradition was associated with lower levels of support for the environment. And then in 1993, Heather Hartwig Boyd took data from the General Social Survey, which is a survey that is done to a random sample of people across the nation that measures their environmental um, beliefs and their religious beliefs and how those match up or don't. Well, that survey, some 30 years later, um, after the 1967 survey, basically said the same thing, that the deeply religious Christians really were not concerned about the environment. When I first did the research, I figured that was back then. We're a lot more enlightened now, so we probably wouldn't have the same results if that survey were done again. Well, in 2010, Clement et al., they took the data from both the 1993 and the 2010 General Social Survey, and they came to the conclusion that there really wasn't much change in that 17 years. So that blew my theory out of the water. Also, in the summer of 2010, the Pew Research Group did a survey of 3,003 people, random sample. Um, and when they concluded their survey, there were 13 things that Christians were concerned about, and the environment was number 11. So, there are things that we can do that would help to increase our, um, reduce our ecological footprint, and also to help us to be more pro environment in our activities. We could take up things such as using recycled products, or we could use reusable grocery bags as opposed to the plastic bags, and that's one that I really have to work on. I have bags and I generally don't keep them in my car. So I am going to make a commitment to keep the bags in my car so that I can use them. But turn the water off. Um, Walk more, drive less. And that's a big one in this day and age, because as a people in the United States, we drive everywhere. My children didn't want to ride the bus when I told them they needed to start riding the bus. There are Christian organizations that are um, out there promoting and advocating for in the environment. Organizations such as Target Earth. Their motto is serving the earth, serving the poor. There's also the Evangelical Environmental Network, who says creation care. It's a matter of life. Then there's also Plant with Purpose. And they say that they believe that God entrusted us with caring for his creation, and that one of our responsibilities is restoring harmony between man and nature. So it is time for us to take up that same purpose, to pick up that purpose and to care for it. Maybe we can also encourage people at our churches, to the leaders at our churches, to work on something or promote something that is environmental. And that would reach more people, because we tend to listen to our pastors sometimes more than the news. So at this point, I'd like to say good night and thank you for listening. And hopefully, you've